Good evening, everyone. Happy Friday to us all. It's the end of the week, the work week at least, and we've got 2 days off. Looking ahead. Thank you for dropping by, choosing my corner of twitch.tv to come say hi. Before we get into Forza Horizon, as is tradition, we're going to instead have a look at something a bit different first to start off with. Because I don't know about you, I don't know, I'm always window shopping, keeping an eye out for things. Currently have an Android phone, but I'm wondering if I should have a look at an iPhone. Part of the reason I'm not on an iPhone currently is the Lightning port. In fact, it's not USB-C is a big bummer for me. So I was thinking, how about we design our own? And thanks to Neil.fun, we can, and we can make it, better. Make it the iPhone that we want it to be. So here we are. Here is the next iPhone. Let's just give it a stretch so it's properly proportioned. Captures the window. So here we go. First things first, obviously, we've got to get a better wallpaper. So let's get that going on, obviously. There we go, much better. Now, we'll go from left to right, because just behind me, there are more options. Oopsie daisy, I'm double clicking, which is annoying as heck. My apologies. Okay. My mouse is playing up, unfortunately, which is super cool. Huge fan of that. We want a window capture. That's a bit better. That way we can see everything. Isn't that what we all want deep down? To see everything. There we go. So we've got more stuff over here, obviously. Got a whole mess of stuff. From the not so pro to the pro. So I suspect we should start at the left, over here with the pro camera, and then we'll work our way across. And so, let us begin. Now, obviously, do we want it universe grade, or do we want it red so it goes faster? Rust, perhaps? Cyan, so it's a Nokia? Purple, tacky yellow? I think green. I've always quite liked the look of the green iPhones. Now we need some cameras, because as we've all seen those billboards, iPhones are all about photography, baby. So we need the pro camera. And we could blend it in? Or is that too tacky? Do we want it to stand out? Now what I propose to you, however, is that we've got a regular camera, a wide camera, and a telephoto camera. Not necessarily in that order. I've got 3 different lenses going on here. But we have the possibility to have 5 lenses. So we could have an ultra telephoto and an ultra wide. And I suspect, or I suggest, that should be a different color. So you can distinguish that you've got, from a distance, that this character here has several camera bumps. Now, obviously, we need some volume controls, because not only can we be taking photos, but we could also be recording video. And we're going to get some pretty banging audio coming out of it. And when we're playing it back, we'll need to record, not record, we'll need to adjust the volume. Now, left or right is the big question then. I'm not sure. I think we should wait on that. And in the meantime, continue working through our camera situation. So we could add a notch, everyone's favorite. Then, add like a camera inside the notch. You can just see it there. We could do the Samsung look and just have the camera on its own floating in space. We could do the new iPhone look and have a notch floating in space. Many questions. But there is another back camera, and I think we should add that. Because, now hear me out. Here's an idea. So we've got these cameras, which are fairly standard, shall we say, boring perhaps even. But on the front of the iPhone, we've got a kind of fancy, almost stereoscopic arrangement of cameras and detection and what have you. So why don't we do that on the back as well? And have a dual camera setup with a bit of distance between them so you can measure things with it. And my question to you is, why not? Of course, I am an idiot, as we all know. And that's because we haven't claimed ownership of this yet. And clearly we need to have the Apple logo on it. Because say what you will, they will not claim this as their own. And fair enough, they've put a lot of work into this, clearly. Now, part of the reason I haven't put the volume buttons on is because I couldn't decide whether to put them on the left or put them on the right. Fair enough. Different phone companies have them on different sides. My Samsung here has them on the right-hand side. Yeah, I was just checking just to make sure I wasn't making up a lie. But I think the iPhone, let's have a quick check, shall we? I think the iPhone has them on the other side, on the left-hand side. Is that? Yeah, there you go. On the left-hand side there. Just there. So we want this to be a kind of a unity ticket, if you will, something to bring people over, because we've already got the world's greatest camera setup. So what I'm proposing, and veto this if you want, chat, because this is let me be very clear. This is like a group project, all right? So we're all taking part in this. It might be my face on it, but this is a group project, a stream project, if you will. This is the stream phone. It might say new iPhone, but this is actually stream phone. So what I'm proposing is we have a set of volume buttons. So there's one, and there's the other on both sides. So that way, you can, whatever kind of phone you're used to, you can come in and you can just pick it up and use it as you would. It just makes sense. And I think that is, we can say a lot about Apple, but I think that a lot of their decisions just make sense, right? So I think that's the kind of principle we need to be running with. Now, the next item is obviously their famous Lightning port. Great for connectivity, great for profit margins. But there's an interesting opportunity, if you will, that we're now facing, because we have two volume controls. And what is one thing that a lot of iPhone users dislike about the Lightning port when they're using wired headphones or earphones? That they can't charge their phone. So what about this? We have one Lightning port here, but then we have a second Lightning port here. Now this can work in two different arrangements. You can have one for your fat beats, and then one for your fat volts. Or you've got two volume controls. So you could have two separate fat beat distribution solutions coming out of here, one out of each. Two sets of headphones. So this is actually a phone for couples. And I think that's really quite beautiful when you think about it. The notch, obviously, we need a notch because we've got to house those really sick VTubing cameras that are also used for TikToks and what have you. But one thing that I think everyone can agree on is not fantastic about TikTok is the fact that all the videos are in portrait. And a lot of things you need to see in landscape to appreciate. Like Dune, for example, would not be quite as good if it was an IMAX portrait. I don't think, at least. If you want to re-edit the film, that's fine, and you can prove me wrong. So what I'm proposing is we have a second notch. So we can have a second set of sweet VTubing cameras on the side. So you can hold it sideways to film your TikToks or your VTube stuff. What can I say? Except, give me a job, Apple. We'll have our silencer, obviously. Oh, excuse me, we've got to have a power button. Gotta have a power button. And I think right in the middle of the top. Because I think Apple really lost its way when it got rid of the top-mounted power buttons. I will concede that was almost a decade ago at this point, probably. But I think it's good, and it makes sense. It's in between our two volume controls. That makes sense. And just so to make sure we don't ever miss it, make it nice and red. Stands out. It's good. And it will move faster. And I think we can all say that we want our phones to turn on quicker when we pick them up. And that's what you get with a red power button. It's just science. You know, read a book. And we'll have our silencer. I think that's probably, like, don't get annoyed. It's probably more accurately a suppressor. But they're calling it a silencer here. Front camera. So this is a smaller camera. So obviously we'll put one in each of our notches. It's there, trust me. You can just make it out, I think. Yeah, just being captured on OBS. There you go, one on each. But I wonder, because we've got a lot of cameras on the fat faces, for lack of a better term. We've got 7 there. Yeah, 7 there. We've got 2 here, but we've got none on the thin edges. What about, so we've got our silencer / suppressor here, our power button. What about another one just there? I'm going to say just there. And I'll tell you why we've put it just there. It's to add a bit of danger to things. And what danger is that? Well, we're going to have a headphone jack over here. And that will confuse people, won't it? Because you got 2 black dots at the top of your phone. Which one's which, you know? Bit of excitement. And I think we can all say that's what Apple is about, excitement. Now, we could add another Pro notch, but frankly, I think we're pretty set when it comes to notches. We've got our double cameras in the back. A click wheel. I don't know. It could be useful, I guess. I'm not sure. We'll come back to it, I think, if you guys want it. Now, this is important, though. This is the antenna. Important. Because what do we all remember about the iPhone? That's right. You're holding it wrong. The antenna gate problems they had. No more. Great reception, no matter how you're holding it. And it's extendable. No more having to hold up your phone at weird angles, wave it around. You're going to have great reception, probably even 6G. That's not even been rolled out yet. But you'll be able to pick it up just because of the sheer amount of 4 and 5G that you're picking up from that. And we're all vaccinated, so we're probably, I mean, do we even need this? We're broadcasting 5G as it is. Not sure. I don't know. Now, you could add feet to it, but frankly, that's silly. That said, however, inbuilt pop socket. Not bad. Helps you hold the phone. And because let's be honest, you don't want to drop this bad boy. There are 7 cameras on the back. That's going to be expensive to replace. Googly eyes. That's just silly, isn't it? Like, why even suggest that? Pro stand. Now we're really not particularly pocketable. And I think, personally, when I think of an iPhone, I think of pockets. Or at the very least, purses. And I don't think this is more of a handbag situation. I think this Pro stand. And I think we'd be limiting ourselves if we went exclusively for a handbag style clientele. So I think we're going to give that one a miss. But I've got an HDMI port here, and I think that is an intriguing possibility. Because I can't honestly think of a phone that has had a full-size HDMI port on it. And I think that could be an amazing marketing opportunity for us. Because we've got 7 cameras on the back, remember? And 2 on the front. Can't forget those 2 on the front. Those are very important. So we've got 9 cameras in total. We could make the sickest B-reels, TikToks, Instagram reels, YouTube shorts. I don't know. Vimeo's probably got some sort of portrait video platform at this point. But we can't output it at like true 4K 60 FPS. And if you can't do that, what's the point of living, you know? So I'm proposing we slap an HDMI port just about there. And that can also double as a home button. That's right, baby. We got Touch ID back. Excuse the clipping. This is obviously a preliminary. This is more of a kind of abstract sketch. So obviously that would be on top, but you can make out what we're getting at here, and that's excuse me. That's the important part. I'm getting indigestion from just how exciting this is. So I've got a digital crown. As we all know, the iWatch, or more accurately, Apple Watch, big on crowns. What do? No one really knows. But they seem to be some sort of scroll wheel. And we've got a vertical interface here, as you can see. So there's a lot of scrolling suggested. Scrolling through TikToks, web pages, Twitter threads, Twitlongers from YouTubers apologizing about things. There's a lot of scrolling that this device is going to have to do. So what I'm proposing is we go for a digital crown. Now, thinking about that, could we replace the volume controls with a digital crown? Or would that be a little too confusing, perhaps? Got to be gold. Got to be gold. Or do we have rose gold? Yeah, it's kind of rose gold. A bit gaudy. But that's all right. This is just a mock-up. Obviously, it helps you to see the digital crown. So yeah, could we replace the volume controls with the digital crown? Or is that more confusing? Would you instinctively know that you scroll that, whereas you push on this side? And does it make it confusing when you and Bay are banging out? Sorry, incredibly poor choice of words. You and Bay are jamming out to the freshest beats from the Beach Boys, that one of you has to scroll and the other one has to push? I don't know. I think that might be a bit too confusing for you and Bay. So I think it needs to be separate, to be honest. And it does allow for more hardware buttons. And one thing that I have found is that there aren't enough hardware buttons on phones. And at this point, we're getting pretty close to being able to replicate a T9 on a keypad. Admittedly, kind of around the phone, but I think the older clientele who aren't quite as used to touchscreens, I think they would really appreciate that. So I think this could be a real big seller in the boomer market. A booming boomer market, if you will. And you know what boomers also like? Holding things. And how do I know that? I just do. So I'm proposing that we have a handle. So we've got a pop socket on the back. But what happens if it's not really a kind of a back style carrying thing? What happens if you're trying to film with your top camera, your 10th camera that I forgot about previously? Well, maybe something like this so you can hold it kind of like a suitcase. So it's a bit more nonchalant. Am I being filmed? I don't know. It looks like they've just got 2 headphone jacks. There's something like that. And that also keeps your fingers away from the 7 cameras on the back. And could even free up more space for additional cameras. So we'll think about that. So I've got the digital crown. We've got the Pro handle. Yep, got the Pro handle, just making sure we haven't missed anything. We could add a joystick. Now, I'm not so sure if we need a joystick or not. We could add it on the side, and that doesn't interrupt the screen space, which is very important, obviously. That's what you get the phone for. But I don't know. I'll admit, I'm more of a... Even though I've owned an Xbox One and now a Series X, I've never really, except for aiming, I don't particularly use, in my opinion, joysticks to their maximal potential. I'm very much still a binary kind of controller person. It's either full one way or full the other, or nothing at all. So I wonder if that's kind of wasted, at least in my opinion. So maybe we could go for like a D-pad kind of situation. And that could also work as like a fidget spinner. And you see, that way we could also... So we've got the boomers with all of our hardware buttons, but maybe we could also get the millennials with our fidget spinner. Now, another question we need to ask ourselves, is it getting too heavy? We've got a lot of stuff on here. We've got an HDMI port, 2 lightning ports, a handle, 4 volume controls, a digital crown, a fidget spinner cum D-pad, a pop socket, 7 cameras plus 2 plus 1, and a suppressor and a headphone jack. Sorry, the other one's the headphone jack. See? That's that danger we were talking about before. That excitement. Discovery. But is it too heavy? Got a handle here. So should we consider having some wheels on the side? So it's a bit too heavy. You can kind of drag it along the ground. Because the other thing we need to consider, and particularly seeing it from this angle, you got to also be able to hold it up to your face. Because you need to make phone calls. Now, I know everyone's going to have AirPods or several different, let's be honest, poorer versions, the wide ones coming out of the bottom, as well as another pair coming out of the top. So, I mean, there could be 4 people making a phone call on this thing. But I do wonder if there might want to be a 5th person making a phone call off of it and holding it to their face. In which case is this D-pad perhaps poking them, basically? And I don't know. I think it might be, to be honest. The wheels are pretty out of the way. The handle's out of the way. The antenna is obviously vital for the phone calls. Because you might be in the middle of Antarctica and you still want to connect to American AT&T. This antenna got you covered. Don't even worry about it. So I reckon we get rid of that. I know it's controversial, but what I'm also thinking is that we come back around. Like the iPhone's got how many? At least 3 different versions. You got the regular, the Pro, the Max, the Pro Max, 4. So why don't we come back around? So we've got our, maybe this is our base model, or maybe this is the professional model for those, you know, people on the go. And we come back around for our gamer model, for gamers, hence the name. Then we can add all the D-pads and the joysticks. We could make a boomer version, with just rotary dials out the wazoo. Don't know. And as for rotary dials, I don't think we need one. I think we're running a bit low in space anyway. A cup holder? I mean, that's just silly. That's more of a shot glass, isn't it, really? And I mean, that's just... I don't even know why I suggested that, to be honest. I apologize to you and to Apple as well, really. You'd have an even larger camera, but I think between the 7 cameras, we could probably cover everything a larger camera could do. We've got the computational photography these days. I think we're pretty set when it comes to photography, at least on the back. And I don't think you could really put it anywhere else. We could have a steering wheel, which could be useful given our wheels, but we don't really have enough to need it, I don't think. I think 2 wheels is probably sufficiently handled with our handle, so I think we'll be fine. And a helicopter blade? Whilst nice, and would help keep away flies and stuff like that, I think it'd drain the battery a bit too quickly. And iPhones already have a poor battery as the updates continue. So I think kind of anything we could do to alleviate that would be helpful. So I think we got everything covered. So this is the... I think we're going to say this is the Pro version. This is a version for professionals. Like Pro version in its literal sense. This is for those people who are on the go, who are wanting to make phone calls from basically anyone within the Earth's sphere of gravitational influence with pretty good reception, who want to be able to take sweet videos, like a house tour video or something. You know, you're a real estate agent, you've just got the phone call, you come on in, you do the house tour on your phone, and you go back to the office, and you plug in the HDMI port, you throw it on the TV, show the whole office, check it out. But maybe when you're on site, there's like 4 other people, and you wanted to show it off to them, but they've only got wide headphones, and one of them's even got a 3.5. Don't even worry. Plug the 3.5 in there, you got 2 lightnings over there, you break out your AirPods, you're off to the races. Obviously, it should be noted, this doesn't have speakers. There just isn't room. I mean, that just goes without saying. Sacrifices had to be made. I think it's perfect for what we're looking at. Obviously, it's not necessarily perfect for gamers. For my gamers out there, this one probably isn't for you. This one is definitely for the businessman on the go. That's why it's got wheels. Let's give it a presentation, shall we? There you go.
This isn't just an upgrade, it's a breakthrough.
Thank you, Tim. Gotta download the video, obviously. Generating video. So we'll just wait for that. I think we'll quickly do the gaming one, and then we'll jump into gaming ourselves. We'll have a look at Forza Horizon, and get the Eagle Speedster, which is actually one of the few cars, oh, that and the 177 coming up next week, that I am actually interested in. Now, what actually is this video? Is this just what was shown before? Okay, it's just orbiting. That's good, we've saved it for posterity. That's good. So it's a video, it's an MP4, so it's accessible on almost any platform. This means I can send it to, you know, Tim Cook, Apple in general. I could even send it to Google. Say, hey guys, this is what I reckon Apple could do next. What do you have to compete with it, you know? Okay. Keep double clicking. I need to have a look at a new mouse. That is unfortunate. Now let's quickly do the gamer one. Now, let's just add an Apple logo so we can kind of activate it. And then we'll jump in here and let's get a wallpaper quickly. Let's just see if I can find a gamer wallpaper somewhere in here. What's a gamer wallpaper? You ever feel that there's just too many gamer things here in your picture folder? Like you're too cool? I'm feeling that right about now. Perfect. Alright. We've got a Batman comic from the FaZe Clan panel from the FaZe Clan edition comic. Dr. Freeze questioning whether gamers can stop him. I don't know, I haven't read the comic, so I don't know the answer to that question. But I can see that his incredulity would be, warranted. Not exactly what you'd expect from crime fighting. But I think in honor of Mr. Freeze, I think he's given us a direction. And that's blue. Now, I don't know. I wouldn't call myself a gamer. I'll be honest. I know it's surprising to many. I exude gamer energy from my sweet negative KDs that I get when I play first-person shooters. But I don't know if they're huge on rear cameras. So I wonder if we would just go for like a single rear camera or something. Maybe even just a front camera. But what I do know, and this is in no small part because I'm on a platform that kind of puts forward this, and that is gamers will often be streamers. And streamers aren't always VTubers like yours truly. They will often, this is incredible, I know, they will often show their face on stream. Very unsafe, but they do it nonetheless. So we've got to get our notches in. And I think this one, I think the Pro notch is better because you can see behind it. So when you're playing Fortnite, someone can't quite sneak up on you around the corner because you'll be holding it landscape. Or portrait, perhaps. Someone can't sneak up above you if you're playing Fortnite on landscape and you're on your phone. But we've only got one camera, and I reckon we put that right there. And it's a bit of a dead spot. I know it does kind of negate what I said previously, but I think you'll get some sweet kind of face cam footage out of that will negate that, The sweet follows and subs and donos and bits and whatever will make up for the fact that you may have been murked because some guy was in these 100 pixels over here. But I think, again, we're really onto a winner before. And I think, again, we need to have a double notch setup so we can be gaming in landscape. And that is actually an interesting question. Do we even need it in portrait? Are gamers portrait phone users? Because as far as I know, I was joking about it before, but as far as I know, like Call of Duty Warzone Mobile or Warzone Mobile, whatever it's called, Fortnite on mobile, they're all played in landscape. So do we even need this? Are we being foolish and having that there when in reality we should have it all sideways? Or landscape, I should say. Everything's sideways, relatively speaking, I've got our sweet camera here. But gamers, they like adaptability, so we will have a camera on the rear. Just the one. You can't forget it. You got to have it. So we've got our sweet gamer camera setup, but we need to have our sweet gamer audio. But I think what we could do could really kind of, we're going to be pushing some boundaries here, chat. So I would advise if you're not currently strapped in with your seatbelt and stuff, I would do it because we're gonna go a bit wild. What about we put our volume controls on the top here? And you might think that's pretty crazy. And, it is. I'm not going to deny that. But what we're going to do as well is we're going to put another set of volume controls down here. And that's because they're not inherently volume controls. They're actually like shoulder buttons. That's why we're going to put another set of volume controls just there. So now you've basically got like a PlayStation Portable going on here. In fact, you've got your shoulder buttons, the PlayStation Portable. Probably got a lot more buttons than a PlayStation Portable at this point. And I think it's a bit more gamer to have a robot than an Apple, because I don't think gamers really know what fruit looks like. That doesn't sound very gamer to eat fruit. They're more like a chicken nugget kind of person, I think. And Androids are green. They're a green phone. So we'll go for purple, because we don't have green. So purple seemed like a mildly adjacent color. I don't think anyone could deny that it's a color, really. So we've got our buttons, our shoulder buttons. Do we want a home button? I don't know. I don't think gamers are huge on security in terms of like fingerprint ID. I think they're more about just speed. And I think in that sense, this phone is always unlocked. So as soon as you're got the chance, you can just jump straight in. Maybe this phone actually has like kind of like more modern consoles, the Series X and what have you. It's got that kind of hibernation state. So it's always got Fortnite running. It's always got Genshin Impact on the go. And because it's always unlocked, you can just pull it out, press a button, and you're there. Like a second. You don't have to unlock it or nothing. So we'll have no security. And I think we'll have the power button right above the camera. It's easy to find because the camera protrudes about 2 whole millimeters above the screen. So you can really kind of feel it out. We'll have our silencer, I think underneath the left shoulder button. It could also be a toggle when you think about it. So you could have this one here, and that's just a toggle. That like toggles on your gamer mode. You know, like on some mice, how you can use like increase the DPI or the refresh rate on things. And I think that's important. And it's on the back so you don't accidentally turn on gamer mode and, I don't know, delete your grandma because you're shooting things so quickly on Call of Duty Warzone. I wonder if a stand is useful in this instance. Because then we can set this up on a table in front of us in the library and use it with our separate Bluetooth controller. I think that is useful. I do. And because we're mobile, we want, I think, we had it before, but I think we're going to want antennas again. And that's because, and I think we might even want more than one. Because when we're playing Warzone, we want to make sure we've got the lowest ping possible, which means we want to make sure we've got the best ping possible. We want to be sucking in as much of that sweet, sweet 5G as we can humanly absorb. And by humanly, I of course mean electronically, because as much as you may have been vaccinated, you still can't play Call of Duty Warzone on yourself. As far as I know, I'm not a scientist, obviously. I'm just a fox with a robot body on the internet I'm a phone designer, obviously. HDMI out, I think, is important. I think everyone can agree. Everyone remembers a couple of years ago when the Switch came out, everybody was lambasting the Switch because it didn't have an HDMI out. I remember precisely the Polygon article. It's not a console if it doesn't have an HDMI out. And it didn't. And there was debate as to whether it was a console as a result. I mean, Nintendo can call whatever they want a console, but if it doesn't have an HDMI out, is it really a console? And I think it's still, frankly, I think it's still inconclusive. Some will say that it is a console, but I don't know. So I think we definitely need an HDMI out. We can have it, I think having it on the bottom is important, because then you can just kind of have it in a dock. And speaking of docks, we also need to be able to charge the phone, which is important. Gamers like things to be charged. And you know what gamers don't like? Waiting for things to be charged. So here at Jow Industries, we're gonna do our patented again. We're gonna have two. That'll allow you to charge with, you'll be able to plug in two power bricks. The amount of voltage running through here is astonishing. You could probably use this as a taser. And that's an interesting prospect. I'm not going to say anything more than that. I think we can understand where that goes. Now we're into the gamer zone. We've got the steering wheel, we've got the joystick, we've got the D-pad. Now go for two joysticks, perhaps. It's a little bit analog, I know. But it does allow for more flexibility in terms of input strength. You don't have to be sprinting, to be casually strolling. You know, you could go to a canter, a trot, other horse speed terms. So a D-pad is also useful when it comes to navigating menus and stuff, though we do have a touchscreen. So is it as needed? Discuss. I don't know. I'll expect responses at the end of class today. So let's just try and get that a little bit better in the corner so I don't lose my mind too much. You could have a steering wheel, perhaps? But I think between the two joysticks, I think you've pretty much got it covered. Oh, hey, Zav. We're just currently designing the new gamer iPhone. We did the iPhone Pro. I'll just bring that up quickly so we can all enjoy the iPhone Pro. So this is the new iPhone Pro right here. As you can tell, entirely unbiased, just happens to have my face on it. We've got 7 cameras on the back, 2 at the front. We've got a wheel so you can roll it, and we've got an antenna so you've got great reception. Thank you. We've got an HDMI port here. You can't see, but there are 2 lightning ports down the bottom, so you can charge your phone and listen to a wired headphone at the same time. It's basically perfect, but not necessarily perfect for gamers. And that's where this one comes in. So for the gamers, we've got our 2 joysticks here, obviously. But we've also got some shoulder buttons. So you can get your sweet Call of Duty Warzone headshots going on. We've got another HDMI out, so we are actually a console by some measures. We've got our landscape front-facing camera because from my limited knowledge of gamers, they like to do things landscape more than portrait. So we've got that in landscape. I've also got 2 antennas so that you will never lose reception and get lag, because we all know gamers hate lag. So, and we've got a stand as well. So you can put it down with your HDMI port next to your television and then break out your console controller and really get your game on. Oh, and of course, we've got our gamer mode toggle here, which will, increase the DPI and the refresh rates and what have you. So yeah, this is the gamer version, and frankly, it's brilliant.
This isn't just an upgrade, it's a breakthrough.
Thank you, Tim Cook. I agree. So we'll just download that video. And how are you going, Zav? You're in GLFC? Or you were at GLFC? How is or was that? And thank you again for joining my chat. Always nice to see you. And a little bit kind of surprising, to be honest. All right, video saved. Let us break out Verizon 5, not 4, 5. Alright, close the browser, turn that off, boot that up. Dash going on. Excuse the 3/4 view, that just happens for some reason. Oh, and congratulations on Partners of Oto if you're still here. Big ups for you. Took you a few attempts, but you got there eventually. I knew you would. Oh, let's change the old category. Like the professional that we are. Much better. Come on, any second now. Hey, there we go. Why no noise? Because I'm on streamer mode? Weird. Try and launch it and see if it fixes itself when we actually load into the game. Otherwise, I might have to reboot it or something. Weird. Gotta get that PC optimized. There's nothing Forza Horizon likes more than an optimized PC. Now let's turn on the speedo. So we can see what speeds we're doing. Very important, obviously. So we can maintain the speed limit. No other reason. But I just tabbed out of it
Mexico's
by
looking pretty
accident.
dry this season. You know where else is dry? The Aussie Outback. You like that segue? Yeah, well, maybe you'll like the stuff on the festival playlist instead, including the return of Midnight Battles.
The trial in the HSV Gen 4 GTS. Okay. Okay. Let us start the trial, I reckon. Because we want to get the Eagle Speedster. Because that is frankly the only car. Except for the 1.7. Excuse me. Oh, dinner is making a reappearance. Except for the 177 that I'm actually interested in. Wasn't particularly interested in the Agera. I wasn't particularly interested in the 599 double X. Okay. Let's jump into
Welcome
here.
back, comrade.
Thanks for having me, Anna. Let's have a look at HSV. I don't have it. Hi. That's sacrilege. Quickly pick her up. Color. Go for red, that is traditionally the Holden color. That orange is a bit more attractive though. Go for something a bit more custom. Spectra Flame Red. Let's do that. I could have done it in the metallic one, but frankly I can't be bothered to get that precise. Yep, that's the car we just bought. It's in the shop. Horizon Australia t-shirt? Sure thing. No, I don't particularly need that emote. Festival. Festival playlist. Trial. I know. Let's check the old car collection. Oh, that was cool. Don't know why I had to turn up for that. Now hold on a second. Let's jump back over here, jump here. Yeah, okay, it's stock. Okay, alright, okay. Just making sure. If there was an opportunity to upgrade it, I would be remiss if I didn't take it. That's the end of the speedometer. We did pretty well there, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, we did less well there. That's partly because I was reaching for a button. We are a little bit tail happy, unsurprisingly. You know, we've got frankly astonishing amount of power going to the rear wheels only. $700 Nm of torque and 400 and something kilowatts of power. Not surprising, we do get a little bit loose under throttle. when it comes to changing direction. I do want to begin matchmaking. Thank you very much, Forza. I don't know if they added it recently or whatever, but the fact that I discovered Fidelity FX for this game has really been a game changer for the old frame rate and GPU usage. Probably could have taken that corner a little bit better. That's the one. Not that I've got much choice in the matter. While we wait, I should shout out Zavoto Fox. They recently became partner. So if you haven't, I recommend going to follow them. And hopefully that command works. But it doesn't look like it is, does it? That is a shame. Nope, no, it just took a second. That's the person. Go check them out.
It's me! No, do it!
Oh my god.
Ah! Ah!
Nuggies?
No, I
No.
can't.
They do fursuit streams every once in a while. If you like that kind of stuff, go check them out.
Why?
And congratulate them on getting partner. Because they were trying for a little bit and they only got it, I think, this week, if I remember correctly. I've done it again. Look at these chumps in their purple. What a bunch of conformists. It's gonna be a fun corner. Well, I was the only one who knew that they had a brake pedal. That's exciting. He says that he drifts into a wall. Well, not terrible. These are not my favorite variant of the GTS. It was the previous generation. I guess it's Series E, but I don't even know for sure. The one that came with the VE Commodore launch are, in my opinion, a much classier looking vehicle. Just overall. Ah, for flip's sake, Frozen Basil. Gonna bounce off someone, bounce off one of the AI. Not yours truly. Oh, for flip's sake, I was looking at the chat, damn it. There's not even much happening in the chat. Why familiar clock 52 is having such a hard time. I think got a slightly higher ping than I would expect. Where's Tegan? Must have really whiffed it. We're down to 5, so one of our members has left already. Because they can't hack it. Rose and Basil's still around. I don't know if they've discovered the brake pedal yet, but we'll find out soon enough. They're just ahead. The answer is probably not, it looks like. Damn it, I ran into Pablo and gave him a boost. That is like precisely not what I wanted to do. Well, that is a shame. Defeat. But I came second in points. We're lucky we didn't go for that orange. Seems that's the enemy team's color. Right. Looking to add some that. Rendering lag. I think is GPU stuff. That is a shame. Yes, yes. Thank you for your concern about my closing of a window, OBS. Okay, so we've lost another person. That might make it a little bit easier, but we'll see. Okay, it's a sprint as well. Get him on the inside. Might even be able to take Katya. Oh, Katya? Maybe I'm putting too many syllables in it. Katya. I don't know actually how to pronounce that name. It looks like I should, it's fairly simple. Frozen Basil looks like they're still up to their old tricks. Of just chucking it into the corner and hoping for the best. I appreciate their consistency. Ooh, almost hit that step. That could have been bad. Gotta try and catch up to these fellas. We got about a third of the race left. Taking a page out of Frozen Basil's book. Just in the lead. Well, we've done as good as we can. We're in first place. Up to the rest of them now. Hey, we got the dub. Okay. that was Turk. Oh, familiar cloth, sorry. Excuse me. Right into the microphone, that's very unprofessional. Gotta win this one. Got it all to play for. There's 1-1. This is a deciding race. Hopefully it's another sprint. I find I prefer and work better for sprints. And it's a circuit, so, well, that's a shame. Oh, it's this one. This corner here. I hate with a passion, because if you go wide, they've got those kind of a rock border to the garden, and it slows your vehicle down like no one's business. Oh, steady on it. That was a lovely drift around that corner. Tell you what, Need for Speed Underground 2 me would be very pleased with that. Oh, good man yourself. Just holding back Tegan a little bit. We both ran a little bit wide. Better Tegan there. Hold the slide gracefully. Gee, they're all behind me, huh? Let's not mess it up. I messed it up, guys. I messed it up big time. Bollocks. Oh, that's the game. That's the race, that's all she wrote. It's gonna be one of those times where we're gonna have to do the old trial twice. Haven't had one of those in a while. But today looks like it's gonna be one of those days. Which is a shame, because it's a stock one. Oh, for flip's sake. I like intentionally turned around it. If this was like a modded race, or just a regular one, where it wasn't stock exclusive, I think this would be a lot better. Because then I could go and hit up the garage and fix certain things. But, in this instance, I just gotta be better. And that kind of sucks. Because that's not as easy. I have a feeling Turk was maybe not trying as hard as he should have been. Let's take it from the top. One more again. Actually, let's have a look at the car tuning first. Can I do anything to the car tuning? Do we have a differential? No. Nothing. Let's lower the bar by 1.1 on each. See if that does anything. Probably not is the answer. But it makes me feel like I'm, you know, trying. That's really half the battle when you think about it. So I know it might be an imperial measurement, but I would much prefer if that was in PSI. I feel in that instance it's a slightly more accurate measurement. If you're only going to give bar to a single decimal place. Oh yeah, jamming out. My sweet drift song. Come up here, through the cactuses apparently. Surely this would be a pretty good drift car. Or like a basis for it. IRL or in-game. It's got a pretty enormous amount of torque. I guess the engine isn't particularly like fast revving, maybe? Hey, I've never actually touched that drift zone before. Poggers. Session joined. Up, nope. Yep. I was trying to turn a corner then. Still loading. At least we're now setting up the event, I guess. Let's see our sweet ride. There's a subtle difference in colour. Not as large as it could be. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Let's do this. We've got some fairly high-ranked individuals on this team. So they're not new to this idea of racing. Let's see how that plays out. I think we all took the corner with relative grace. I don't think one of us decided to send it just straight into the corner. Walled, which is pretty huge for us. Slight change we did to the tyres has definitely not hurt our setup. Nose on the road, yeah. Turns out Reaper Infidel might actually be sending it. Alex. Thankfully Pablo slowed down for that corner. Good man yourself, Reaper Infidel. Yeah, whereas Breakways or Quasi was nowhere in sight. There's no point in trying to slow them down. Okay, so we lost one. And we lost a player as well. Alright gamers, here comes the sprint race. Oh, looks like we just lost Crush Fuji, unfortunately. Yep, we did. really slowed down there. I can understand slowing down for that corner for obvious reasons, but not for that other one. Take your foot off the accelerator. Right. We're in a pretty good position currently in terms of points. 1300 to 1150. Gonna make sure we hold on to that. At least our contribution to it. Wait, Quasi is kind of tussling with Pablo for 8th place. Will only add to our points lead, which is, you know, always nice. Not desperately necessary, but lovely nonetheless. I was going to say, if they were going to do anything, they should do it soon, because it's almost over, and they did. Get out of it, Tegan. Oh, look at Ray climbing the ladder. 6th now. I wonder if Anonymous was helping out. I hope so. Love to see a bit of team play. Okay, one last race. Once more, it all comes down to the last one. Okay, here we go. This circuit again. They're running into each other, I don't know why, but I'm happy to take advantage of that chaos. Previous huge lead that looked like we were going to be having has kind of dissipated. Reaper's fallen down to last place. They must have missed a checkpoint or something. So Anonymous is climbing the ladder, it looks like. Frankly, any win's a win, so it doesn't particularly matter by how much. I'm not going to remember by how much, that's for sure. I don't care. Hey, Anonymous is in 2nd place, well done. You'd love to see it. Whoa, Anonymous, chill out, my guy. If you want first, you can go around. Gee, there's a tussle between him and William. Tell you what. Alrighty. I think that might be the W for that one. Got 2 human players on the podium. Which is nice. We finished noticeably in front of the AI, which is also nice. I don't know if Reaper's gonna make it though. Oh, it did. Well done them. Alrighty. The deed is done. We got that pretty sweet Nissan supercar? More of a track car almost, really. Seems incredibly impractical. What else are we looking at doing? Aussie rules, perhaps? Nissan? Okay, let's do Nissan to the max. Quite close by, which is always nice.
Turn around when it is safe to do so.
Who doesn't love a short commute?
In 400 meters, turn right.
We'll do the...
Turn right.
We'll maybe do the Australian one after this. We'll have to modify either the Maloo or this bad boy to be slightly better off-road though. This is going to be pretty rubbish and the Maloo's going to be even worse. It's got no weight over the rear tyres. Ah!
400 meters, you will arrive at your destination.
Good job it's got a 5-star ANCAP rating. Are we going to survive that crash?
You have arrived at your destination.
Slightly overshot the destination there, Anna. Now we've arrived at the destination. I knew we'd get there eventually. Okay, what can we break out? Yes, 73 Skyline. Sylvia. 2002 Skyline. $300 ZX. Look, let's go with the Underground 2 Skyline. For now, at least. we load? Of course, into night race, this is ultra appropriate to have this map. Come on, Godzilla. Gaining places. Oh, we're not especially quick, which isn't surprising given what we're how fast it B657 after all. I saw that corner far too late. And we're in the lead. Stay on the road. Very quiet street race in terms of AI traffic. It definitely sounds nice from the outside. Not like the GTS, which sounds better inside. I was thinking which button to press for nitrous there as I approached the end. Obviously that is not a thing in this game. Where are we off to next? One over there. There's one over there, okay. So we do go past this house.
400 meters. Turn left.
Let's try and get some old upgrades on this bad boy.
Turn left. In 400 meters. Turn left.
No boost indicator, interestingly.
Turn
Maybe there's a
left.
digital one on that kind of DPS unit.
You have arrived at your destination.
Bonus Vistat. What can you do in the tire department? Go up to sports tires. Street tires is probably better. Doesn't really affect it as much as you'd think. Oh yes, of course we could mod this bad boy. Slightly wider side panel. That one's definitely the most different. Stick with that one for now. Need to affects braking. Go for the Nismo rear. And the Jun side. Go for those ones. Go for sports spring. Roll bars on here. Yeah, we'll do that one. I think that one sounds the meatiest, that's for sure. I think that's probably all we can do in here. Anything that can take us to, like, that. That'll do nice. $270 kilowatts. Much meatier. Break up the old GPS. Let's head on. Oh, we don't need to, it's just down the road. Can probably figure that one out. I can figure that one out. Little bit of pop in for that truck. Oh, 0. The Australian press called the Skyline GTR when it was competing in the Supercars tournament, touring car championship, I should say. Godzilla, the monster from Japan. Here we go. Getting beaten a little bit in terms of outright power and by extension top speed. That was partly my fault. I don't know if it sounds better. I think it maybe actually sounds a bit worse. Alright. Let's try that again. This time we'll take the braking line a bit more seriously. Tough one. We're in the lead there. Fast. Not too far from the finish line. Tell you what, I can put my eyelids on. Did not sleep well last night, in the slightest. I might not be going to midnight tonight, lads. Might be calling it a little bit earlier. Okay. Now what am I doing? You know where it is? Yeah, it's just ahead. Beautiful. I like that. They're pretty much in a row. Lovely.
In 400 meters, you will arrive at your destination.
Just trying to see if there's a little bit of rear wheel steering going on.
Arrived at your destination.
Maybe I can. No, I don't know. But I'm pretty sure the Skyline has that. Has a four-wheel steering to an extent. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay, the final race. All to play for. Not really. As long as I finished pretty well, I think we got this one in the bag. Thanks to our 2 previous W's. Naturally, we're still going to try and get a W again. It's always nice to get a hat trick. Is it a universal phrase, a hat trick? Or is that just a Commonwealth / cricket country phrase? I've only heard it. I don't know if it's a cricket thing. Originally. Very impractical tail-like cluster when it comes to boot access. Could have quite easily had the inside set of 2 smaller ones on the boot lid and move the division between the boot lid and the car body to in between the tail light. I would have thought of that. Nope, that's not it. That's it. I think we've still got the W. If not, we can restart it and not hit that fence, because that's almost certain that we lost the W. Oh, we got it. Oh, we got another Gen F GTS. Excellent. I'll add it to the pile. Need 3 more points. What to do, what to do. Let's have a look at this. Ugh, it's on the... Alright. Where are we? Nope. I'm on the map. That one. Okay, let's go to our crib. Have a look at the upgrade options. If we can.
In 400 meters,
What do you mean if we need to upgrade one of the HSVs?
turn right.
Let's see. Where's the mouse? Right here. If you ran the boot like straight down between those tail light cluster, in between it, I think that would solve the problem of having quite a narrow boot opening. Parts, HSV. We do now have 2 Gen F GTSs. In which case, let's just upgrade one of these then. That just makes sense. When you think about it. Now this is an off-road race. Nope. Upgrade and tuning. Let's start with the tires. Do we want off-road or just rally? I think rally. Off-road. We need enormous rear tires. Obviously. Get the traction that we're so clearly needing. Get rally springs on it. Roll bar. Get a roll cage. Get the better brakes. It is supercharged, I wasn't sure. Get that done. What engine swaps are there actually? The diesel? A V10? An 8-litre diesel. Wow. It's the Dodge Viper one, no doubt. Didn't really change the off-road rating too much. Don't particularly want to increase the supercharger. Thank you, stay healthy, but I should get some drink. Race transmission. Road. Diff. I don't really know if I'll be using it or not. And we still... Oh, very easily. While the... Yeah, that doesn't do better. That's astonishingly heavy, actually. 2.1 ton. Alright, let's get the Viper engine in. There's positive displacement supercharger on there. Oh yeah, let's rock the all-wheel drive. Particularly now as we're going a bit nuts with the amount of power going through these bad boys now. Fat tires at the front. Okay, so that's not going to save any weight, so we won't do that then. We'll do that though. And that. It's an unconventional way to make an off-road car by putting a V10 in, but I think it's worked. Okay, where is the event? That's right, it's at the top of the hill. I'm not driving up there. So we're going to fast travel. Even after we spent all that money grafting 2 additional cylinders onto the car. Here we go. A lot of dropping frames. We've dropped 200 frames or so far this stream. $100 frames every hour that we've been live so far. Not ideal. But I think that's just the situation we face. Let's check the old tuning. Don't think we need a diff. No, I think we're fine. Let's go. I do wonder if we need our gearing done because the top speed is 293 and we're like getting there astonishingly quickly. We're almost a little bit too fast, to be honest. I'm impressed the Maloo in front and first, I think, is on the track. Thought for certain that would be all over the race course. wonder if we would have just been better off. Oh, maybe not. We are kind of painting on people here. I wonder if we would have been better off if we just done nothing to car. Except put off-road tyres on it. Oh, there goes that skill chain. Lost like tears in the rain, as they say. One-fifth of the course left. Boost them. Get around them. There we go. Don't screw it up in the last corner. No, we've got plenty of room. It's not the greatest of vehicles we've encountered, nor is it terrible. I would describe it as adequate. Alright, where's the next race? Actually, we should do the circuit first. We don't have to drive as far. The next event.
Turn right.
We do be zooming. Would have been pretty cool if this car actually did have a V10 in it.
Turn around when it is safe to do so. Recalculating route. In 200 meters.
I know they're meant to be V8 cars, but will be different at the very least for it to have a
Arrived
V10.
at your destination.
I don't think GM makes a V10, so that wouldn't happen. Let's just quickly check something. Yep. Still loading. Just shamed into action. Awesome. Okay, let's see how this thing goes around corners. The same corners. A lot. Okay, that was not the most elegant. Let's try it again. This time we'll give it a little bit. Try and give it a little bit of angle to the left. I tried. That's alright. He gave himself a bit more angle to the left. Worked out basically the same. The corner. Okay, we're doing pretty well. Second lap, first place. We gained 6 spots in 1 lap, which is quite nice. Oh, didn't nail that corner then. Inclusion of this dirt track area is really quite a good one. You've got this kind of dirt race area, and then you've got the road race area around the main festival. It's nice. One of the things I've always thought would be neat to have in the Horizon games are racetracks. Like, I thought it was a pretty big L, to be honest, that they did not include Mount Panorama in some way in Australia, given that mountain's outsized presence in the Australian motoring fandom. Having the ability to grip it around tracks, even if it is in free roam, is really quite nice. Across the line. Multiple wheels in the air, which is always nice. We were at least 10 seconds faster than half of the group. Maybe I was wrong, maybe the car is actually not bad. Where am I going? I'm going over here. See? We win the race and we don't have far to drive now because we've planned it.
100 meters. Turn left.
That's the fence. Press my wing mirror is still there.
In 400 meters. Turn left.
Au contraire, Anna, this is an off-road vehicle now.
You have arrived at your destination.
So I can just drive there. Directly.
Woo!
I might just go until we've got this done, to be honest. I'm fading fast. I had a really rough sleep. Bit full, not restful. I'll take the Eagle Speedster for a spin around the place. But after that, I might see who we can raid. Just being transparent as to what's happening with the stream. That's a bit better. Now we're on dirt. There's a lot of Maloos. This is a very weird revving V10 actually, now that I think about it. I haven't paid too much attention to the tachometer for the Dodge Viper, but I'd always assumed it revved higher than this. I didn't think it behaved basically like a V8 with a couple more cylinders. In that it's a relatively normal revving, not really low per se. Vehicle. I would have thought it was a high revving thing. I guess I've been influenced by the R8s and the Galados and Hurricanes of the world. Oh, no more checkpoints. There you go. I didn't realize it was that much of the race with no checkpoints. 15% or so. Relatively short, I guess. Only about 2 minutes 20. Okay, that's enough busting of a move. Give me that speedster. That's what we're really here for. Oh, and of course the Wuling Sunshine as well, obviously. Who can forget the all-powerful Wuling Sunshine? Hey, we got it. Well, we're not going to get the cake one. We're not that big a gamer. Eagle, that's what I was looking for. Eagle. Let's hop in. Let's see what a modern reimagining of the E-Type has for us. I think it's American? It is a very nice looking car, unsurprisingly. I can't imagine it being bad looking, given it's based off of the E-Type.
In 400 meters, turn left. Turn left.
I can't tell if I've got disc brakes or not, to be honest. Nothing 5 speed. Interesting. Interesting. What upgrades can we do to you, sir? Get an old-timey style wing? Swapping a V8 to V10 or a racing V6. Supercharge you. The most pressing one, I think, will be to really give it some more tire meat at the back so we can accelerate. That'll do. Am I using drum brakes at the back? Surely not. Oh, ventilated. Oh, drilled at the front. And well, we're fixing that. Put in the wheel spaces. Damn, that's fine. Oh yes, we should have a look at the tires themselves. Semi-slick. That's 17. Another ratio. That's better. Give it some more beans. Reckon that'll do. Bit of lighter flywheel, I think. Yeah, we've got an increase across the page. We're lighter. We can take more lateral G-forces in corners. We got more beans. Whoopsie daisy, your boys are full. We can't be seen driving around in a car painted this color. Where's the metallic? Real deep. Proper British racing. Lovely, lovely. That's more like it. That's the ticket. Yeah, I think that'll do nicely. Take this for a quick spin. Spin! And we'll take chat for a quick spin to someone to raid. Actually take it to a race. The tester out. This one will do nicely. Let's hop on in. Those are some nice wheels. I mean rims. I think it looks better with a roof, to be honest, though. The E-Type. A good part of it, its attraction, is the kind of roof line and what have you. But this is not an unattractive vehicle nonetheless. Ah, so that's what we're going up against. Modern sports cars. Let's see what we can do. Let's try and teach them to respect their elders a little bit. Come on, airplane. Well, it's doing pretty well. Could probably do with some extra RPM. You know, cam upgrades or what have you, but not doing badly. I think that's because we're significantly lighter than most of the cars we're racing against. Except for the Lotus, probably. Be hard pressed to find a vehicle lighter than the Lotus. Sounds pretty nice as well. thing we could look at doing is possibly adding the spoiler on. To increase the rear traction. Oh, and I'm going to tell that again. That trigger got stuck, as always. But I reckon if it doesn't, we might be able to do a little bit better around that corner. Hey, there we go. Take the W. I say it about a lot of cars, but I think the Eagle, and by extension the E-Type, could be really nice as a shooting brake. Have a more conventional hatchback rear to it, maybe another set of seats. Excuse me, sneezing. I reckon that could be quite nice. And as it is, it's not a terrible car by any stretch of the imagination. Oh yeah, there's the modernity with the kind of aftermarket looking radio. Otherwise it looks like it's pretty faithful recreation of the E-Type. Or there's probably some sort of way that they've been able to legally distinguish it from the E-Type. I think it's got E-Type Speedster on the center of the steering wheel. I don't know what they're trying to play at. And that's part of the reason, this right here is part of the reason why I am often reluctant to change up the camshaft. Because now, without the camshaft changed up, both the tachometer in game and the tachometer in the car behave the same way because they have the same red line. Sorry, sir. Just lovely. It's a little thing, obviously. I mean, the amount of times that I'll be driving in first person is pretty small. I've learnt since Horizon 2 days where I would only drive in the cockpit because, I don't know, reasons, I guess.
You've arrived at your destination.
That was interesting practice to try and, I guess, like get an understanding of driving on the left-hand side of the car. Because previously this is all I'd ever experienced. This perspective right here. Which is arguably the better perspective, let's be honest. That immersion indeed. You gotta have a tachometer that matches up in-game and in-cockpit. And if you play around with the camshafts, that is not the case. Even if we're going to fly off the edge of the speedo, but you know, that's alright. Well, I'm sorry to do this to you, 11, but I'm probably going to call it there, because my lack of sleep from last night is catching up on me. Isn't it, tractor car? Oh wait, hold on. Do the old wheel spins. Thank you for the news. Let's have a look at these wheel spins. Alright, wheel spins completed. Time to exit to desktop and raid somebody. Turn the speed off, turn the conclusion on. In any event, thank you very much for dropping by, one and all. Tomorrow we'll be playing some more Alien Isolation. Don't know how much longer there is of that game, whether it means we'll be finishing it or not. We've unlocked the flamethrower, so the alien isn't as much of a threat anymore, which kind of makes me think that we're coming towards the end of it. But I don't know. I've heard that at some point the alien kind of disappears and we're dealing more with androids. So maybe we're halfway through, maybe we're more, maybe we're less. Tune in tomorrow night in approximately 22 hours, find out. Thanks for sticking around and seeing the... Oh wait, you weren't here for that 11, were you? Well, seeing as you're the only one here, you can have a quick look at it. This is the Pro version of the iPhone that I put together before I jumped over onto Horizon. And I think you can see that it's a pretty great product. We've got 7 cameras on the back, 2 on the front, 1 on the top. We've got a enlarged antenna so you can get 5G reception pretty much anywhere. You can't see it here, but we have 2 lightning ports so you can charge your phone whilst listening to your phone. An HDMI port in the middle. Naturally, we've got a crown from the Apple Watch. And because we've got 2 lightning ports, we have 2 audio controls. As you can see, one set on each side. We've got the wheels, obviously, because there's a lot of tech we're carrying around here, so it might get heavy, and a handle. But that's not all. I hear you. What if you are a gamer? And you want a phone as well? Well, I'm glad you asked. Behold, the gaming iPhone. Obviously, it's designed to be used at landscape. It's kind of like an N-Gage, if you will. We've got 2 antennas, extendable, so we can get 5G in pretty much anywhere on Earth, basically. We've got shoulder button, because androids are closer to gaming. I think if you did a survey, you'd find that there are more androids in gaming than there are apples in gaming. You've got your shoulder button volume controls here and here, but you've also got another set of volume controls there and there that can be kind of like used. We've got a stand so you can put it down and then use the included HDMI port so it can become a console. Because gamers aren't particularly much for taking photos, we've got just a regular front-facing camera in the back. We've got the rear-facing camera on the front for better face cam footage for when you're streaming to Twitch. So yeah, it's basically the greatest gaming phone peripheral out there. Oh, and there's this here. This is the gaming mode switch. So you can switch to gaming mode to increase your DPI and such. Yeah, so basically Apple will almost certainly be hiring me at some point. Yeah, it's pretty exciting stuff. Looking forward to moving to, yeah, sniper button, if you will. One thing I forgot to mention about the Pro version, the first one, is that on the top we have another camera on the top, facing to the top of the page. We've got the power button up there because we all know that the iPhones are the best when they have the power buttons at the top. I've also got a 3.5mm audio jack. The primary reason for having the camera there and the audio jack is to create confusion and therefore a bit of excitement when you're trying to put in your headphones. Am I going to break my camera? Am I not? Who knows? Oh, and we've also got a permanent pop socket at the back. But yeah, this is basically the best phone money can buy, and the other one is obviously the best phone for gamers. So yeah, that was the stream. Obviously, I reckon maybe a year or two, these will be in Apple stores everywhere. Creates confusion, but also options. As you can see here, we've got 2 notches, so we've got 2 face cams. So you can use your notch either in landscape or in portrait. Like it doesn't matter whether you're watching a TikTok or a YouTube video. You still got your notch in the way. It's really brilliant. And you got stereoscopic cameras at the back as well. It's great. It truly is. I am the new whatever that guy's name was, the designer of iPhones. I am he. Okay, this time the stream has actually ended. After that brief sojourn to the Apple design department, we're going to raid someone. Now, who was that going to be? Let's raid by Corgi King. Maybe? Maybe not. No. Let's raid Zephora. They are playing Darkest Dungeon. They are an artist and gamer. Currently they're gaming, but sometimes they art. And yes, as I said before, we will be having a look at the rest of Alien Isolation tomorrow and hopefully finishing it. So you got to be there to see the thrilling conclusion because I won't tell you otherwise. All right. Have a good start to your weekend, and I'll see you on Saturday night. Cheerio.